Byron, great to see you.
It's great to see you. Victory. It's great to see you, my friend.
Thank you.
Victory feels good.
Amen. So I want to talk about the election, what happened, but I've been running an event, running all over the place.
Yeah.
Can you explain what happened during this last week with the CR? Just help us make sense of all that, because it's so confusing just as we're trying to run our lives.
So, look, at its core, it's mismanagement. This is what happens when when Washington does what it typically has done, where we call it the four corners, when they kind of go into a room and nobody else knows what's going on. The difference between today's Washington and the Washington we all know is that there is real outside influence that can stop garbage bills from being passed at the last minute. So, when members started saying no publicly on this bill, Elon comes out, says this bill should not pass. President Trump comes out, says this bill should not pass. At that point, they had to go back to the drawing board. And that's when members came in the room working with the leadership to get to what we got to here. The big thing now is next year, which really starts in a week for us, we can't have any missteps. We have a large agenda we have to get through, not a lot of time to do it.
Yeah, so help me understand, and I'm not trying to get you in any trouble, but mismanagement by who?
The leadership team.
In the House of Representatives?
In the House, yeah.
Is it fair to say, again, I don't want to name any names, but like, you know who. Is it fair to say, though, that this was negotiated in private over a course of 6 weeks? Is that right?
Yeah, it is, because members were asking questions. Where are we with this? What's our game plan? Weren't really getting any real answers. Then you start hearing rumors around town. We hear there's a package. We hear this is in it. We hear that's in it. And you weren't really hearing anything concrete until, whether it's lobbyists, staff members, start coming back to members and reporters saying, hey, we hear it's going to be about 500 pages.
Wait, hold on. So you're learning about the bill from the media?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you hear about it from media. Sometimes
so we know as much as you know, basically.
Yes, and I will tell you. And let me expound. Let me expound on this. The 118th Congress, which is the one that just ended, has been, in my view, a very historic one. We started this Congress with a major fight over the speakership because members like myself and others wanted to see the ways of Washington change. And we actually did accomplish a lot of those things. But to be blunt, when McCarthy got vacated, a lot of the stuff that we kind of got accomplished was rolled back, and it was embodied in what came out this last week. So we have to get back to the drawing board, get back to making it a member-centered process. If it's a member-centered process, you don't have these issues, and you have, frankly, the will of the voters reflected in the packages that come out of Washington.
Yeah, just from a process standpoint, let alone the actual result, which we all know is garbage, just how it works for 6 weeks. You're a very well-respected member of the body. You're not even involved. Let alone notified, and you're learning from CNN that we're going to go give money to biolabs or something?
Yeah. Look, I want to tell you this.
That is even worse than I had the lowest possible opinion of Congress. That's worse than I could have imagined.
When you start hearing things from the lobby corps, from K Street, from staff members, and from media before you hear from it from your leadership, that's a problem. And I will tell you, there is a lot of us who left D.C. Either this morning or last night saying we're not going into 2025 operating this way. We're just not.
Again, I feel free to just kind of take the fifth. Does that mean a personnel change?
I'm not going to comment.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay. No, I invoke my Fifth Amendment rights to.
Well, look. Let me. I will expand.
Yeah.
It's incumbent upon the leadership to realize what went wrong and fix it immediately. If they do that, I think things will be fine. If they don't, or they don't come to a recognition of that, there's going to be other discussions that are going to be made.
I don't fault anyone for voting for the final version of this thing, which I still think was not the desirable outcome.
Yeah.
But help me understand just the process side of it, because you've been amazing, Byron. He's so great. He fights every day. He's just been terrific. Help me understand, though, why Congress did not just work through Christmas and do 10 or 12 appropriation bills and just said, hey, nurses have to work on Christmas Eve, airline pilots have to work on Christmas. We're not entitled to a Christmas vacation while the country is being screwed up. We're just going to work all the way through until January 3rd. If we have to shut down the government for a couple of days, we will. It seems as if there's like this lifestyle sense of urgency that we are so entitled to a Christmas vacation. We just need to kind of vote for this because we have no other option. Like, help me understand that. Like, you guys should still be there for all intents and purposes.
I agree.
Hammering this thing out, right?
There was a conversation that was had, not yesterday, the day before, where we're looking. Honestly, the package that ended up was not the best one. We're starting to look at how are we going to get the agenda done, because President Trump has a mandate. So how are we going to get that through Congress? There are some major adjustments to spending that are going to have to be made. There's a lot of us where our attitude is go home, see your family for Christmas, get back to town the 27th, and let's just work, because it's going to be a day in, day out process.
There could have been a CR till the 27th, though, right? We could have done a continuing resolution so you guys get a Christmas vacation, go breathe, but we're not going to fund the government because, by the way, a CR should be like 5 sentences, right?
Yes, it should be, yes.
Not 150 pages, let alone 1,500 pages.
The leadership, to be blunt with you, the leadership and the Democrats, and also you have a lot of our colleagues where their view is, we'll fix it next year, I just want to get out of town.
No, but I know this, I'm not an expert, but I've been seeing this for 12 years. How much of the destruction of our country actually is just people don't want to just stay there over a Christmas break? It's insane to me.
I want to say it's not Christmas break. What this town likes to do is bring everything up to the last minute.
No, that's exactly right.
So it's not Christmas, it's what were you doing in June and July? But what are you doing in September?
Again, I don't want to.
That's where the focus
I don't want to
is.
overemphasize on this, but I think it's so important. Byron, the excuse was in June or July, it's an election year, so we can't do anything controversial during an election year.
Right.
Well, what in the fresh hell is their excuse right now? I mean, we've never been so far away from an election.
But I will tell you, that's why when that deal came out, you had so many members go against it. Because members like myself and a lot of my colleagues,
no, for sure,
they were like, we just won a major election. Why are we acting as if we need the Democrats to bail us out of something? Like, we won. So at this point, we should be dictating terms, not having to go to them saying, well, this is what we're trying to accomplish. What do you need? Because please, 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 that stuff you can't do. Because once you start that way, Charlie, you've been in negotiations. Anybody that's worked, you've been in negotiations. Once you start coming to the table like you need something,
100%,
you're done.
And look, everybody wants something in life. Everybody fears something in life.
Right.
And you have to find the combination of those two things.
Right.
What does Senate, this is a general thing, not a personnel question, because it's all the same. You could replace the speaker. It's interchangeable parts, okay? So if you get rid of Johnson, you might just have someone who's like the same. And it might be a good idea, it might not be. The point being is that what does the average House leader want and what do they fear most? What do they want most and what do they fear most? Psychoanalyze to me those people, because it's a mystery.
What they want most is to keep the majority.
Okay.
So let me.
They have that thanks to Trump.
But I'm gonna expound upon that. And by the way, you're correct. They do have it because of Trump. The focus of this man right here.
Oh, thank
you
you.
are correct. And this man right here. Leadership likes to be in leadership. So everything is always about the next election and keeping the majority. Even now, the conversations are, well, we're going into the midterms. The odds are we're going to lose. So we have to do everything we can to keep the majority. My position and the position of a lot of members who agree with me, a lot of them you'll probably hear from today, are if you accomplish the agenda, that helps us get to keep the majority. But you got to do something.
It's also like, what good is a majority if you don't do anything? Like,
exactly. The purpose of majorities is to accomplish your agenda.
100%.
And the purpose of accomplishing your agenda is to change the way the government works and the way your society is organized. And the only way you get to that point is you have to institutionalize an agenda. And say what you will about Nancy Pelosi. She's never had a problem making her members walk the plank to accomplish their agenda. And we have to be agenda-minded, we have to be mission-minded, and that actually helps you keep your majority.
What do they fear most?
Not being in leadership.
Yeah, I mean, that's sick, actually. So, I mean, I fear, and what you fear most, what I fear most is losing our country, obviously. Yes. That's our drive. What we love most and what we want most is to save the country. Okay, so I think we've gone through that. Are you hopeful that this, I mean, look, President Trump, this is why President Trump is so successful, because of garbage like this.
Yeah.
Because he's an insurgent against all this stuff. Do you think that we'll be able, with President Trump's incoming mandate, the bully pulpit, the political power that he has, the ability to snap a finger, he could remove a member of Congress literally through a primary campaign. Do you think this will change with President Trump taking office on January 20th?
Some of it will. But I will stress to you the thought process and the working process of the leadership in both chambers is going to be critical to that. Because that town has its own muscle memory, which Donald Trump ran up against in the first time. Now, the thing that the town doesn't like more than anything else is the fact that he's had time to now think about it, which is problematic for them. But can we do it? Yes. It takes will more than anything else. And where I will dovetail, Charlie, and this goes to the work you did during this campaign, because you demonstrated that young voters can go to the polls and pull the lever or check the box and vote for the future of this country and vote for conservatism and common sense and republicanism, however you want to view it. Because you proved what the political world said could not be done, it gives wind in the sails of people in D.C. to say, you know what, maybe we should do this. The other thing is you got to have people who are just willing to go home to get the mission done.
Amen.
Like, I don't care, send me home. I'll go make money. I like money, it's great. My wife might be happier than being in Congress. But she's happy, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. She's very, very happy, but you get what I'm saying. But you gotta have members who understand the purpose is to come and accomplish it, not to come and stay.
Amen. And I wanna get to questions because you're tight on time.
Sure.
Here, Byron is very talented. You made money before you went into Congress. You had a great business career, all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's so many of these people that go into Congress, though, they have a substandard skill set where this is like the biggest thing they'll ever do. So they never want to let it go. And for them, this is like the dream. You don't have to work. You have a bunch of people serving you all the time. They call you congressmen. You kind of act important. And so they never want to lose that thing. Because for them, that is a way over accomplishment giving their skill set. Like a way over accomplishment.
One pushback I will tell you, since probably 2016, there's a new wave of member. The new wave of member coming in, these people actually have done stuff. And I think they're adopting more of the mindset of, I'm not coming here for a 30-year career. They're coming in to serve, might be 8 years, 10 years, but then they want to go home. Like I told my district, you got 10 years max out of me, and then I'm going home because it's time for somebody else. And so I think you have that wave of people coming into the House, which is going to make it easier to get, not just to pass tax cuts or not just to make sure we secure a border, but to make sure that becomes the way that the town thinks about these policies. That's the institutionalization of the America First agenda, which is the real North Star that we need to accomplish.
Let's get some questions here. And I will just say, actually, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get Byron in trouble, but I think he has a great future. Don't you think? I think Byron has a great future. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to get Byron in trouble. You can get yourself in trouble on the show.
You already got me in trouble, Charlie, but that's okay.
Okay. I just said you have a great future. I think you got a great future. Okay.
Hey, I'm Stephanie from Michigan, and we flipped a Democratic seat to Republican with Tom Barrett.
That was the Slotkin seat, right?
Correct. And he's an excellent guy. He was at many events that I got to speak intimately with him. He is very sweet. How can we make sure we hold him accountable, but making sure we don't fall back into the blue side in that region of Lansing?
Oh, this is a great question. So first of all, how you hold him accountable is you want to constantly be in communication with him and his staff. On the Hill, staff is everything. We say in Washington, personnel is policy. So whoever's working in the office tends to dictate because the members, we're running all over the place. So you want to stay in contact with the staff and with him as much as you can. His schedule, especially these first 6 months, he's not going to be home a lot because we got a lot of work to do. So we're going to be in Washington a lot, but that doesn't mean he's not doing the right thing. Second thing is, you got guys like me now that you said that, I'm going to find them and I'm going to be like, hey, Tom, I saw some of your people. I'm going to be I'm watching. But for your area, and this is important, electoral politics only work when you are engaging people locally on a continuous basis. It's about building relationship, not just getting votes. And so if you are constantly in your community having these conversations with kids who are in high school now who then become college students, and then they can become young adults, they're in your churches, they're in your communities, they're at the local bar, they go to the local restaurant. When I give speeches in areas, I talk sometimes to the people who are working the room, not the people who are sitting at the table. Because the people that are sitting at the table, they already agree with me. I mean, y'all agree with me, that's cool. I get it. The people that are working the Phoenix Convention Center, those are the votes that we need. And when you think about how to go through the process over the next 2 years, you want to be focused on the working men and women of your community. If you have them in alignment, not in 100% agreement, in alignment with where your philosophy is, it is easier to get them to vote your way when it comes to elections.
Very good. Next question, Daisy.
Jamie Rappis from the great state of Wisconsin. Will we ever find out what happened in Butler? That was the first Trump rally that CNN carried live. You had the photographer in the well that happened to have 3,000 speed camera going and taking pictures of Trump at that immediate moment. So will the American people ever know what really happened that day?
Yes, and I would say we're going to get that information probably somewhat sooner rather than later, because when you have a change in administration, it's going to open up a lot of things that are going to be investigated.
And on top of that, I'm pushing the incoming administration to do a major whistleblower protection program, so all the whistleblowers of the Biden administration can come forward and blow the whistle. We have time for one more question.
Brenda Gifford, Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you for being here and for all that you do. We keep having a conversation about term limits, and I appreciate what you said, but it seems to me that it's such a catch-22. It's really hard to know the pros and cons. Can you speak to that conundrum a bit, please?
In my view, there's only pros, not cons. I know that everybody has a great member of Congress. You have some great ones here in the state of Arizona. They are awesome men. They are patriots. However, nobody is promised anything forever, not in this life. And I do think that on par, term limits are better off for the republic and for the people that we serve. I've heard the arguments about how you would lose institutional knowledge. Well, guess what? If you get elected and you're not smart enough to figure this thing out, then you're going to get unelected. And I will take the collective wisdom of people who come to Washington or go to a state capitol over those who become so enamored with their own intelligence because they've been there too long, they're stuck in the game, stuck in the process, and do not see what's happening on the ground in the lives of people on a day-to-day basis.
Really quick, Byron, anything you want to plug, any plans you want to share?
I'm gonna go to the stage in about an hour or so make sure you come in here and hear me speak. This is gonna be my first speech.
I tried.
Yeah, you tried. Good try. This is going to be my first speech since November 5th.
Wow.
I really don't even know how I'm supposed to give this speech, so we're going to have some fun.
Light it up. Byron Donalds, everybody.